Hello, everyone. Welcome to Poetry Square for the month of March 2022. Here we are. I'm Diane Funston, YubaSutterArts&Culture poet in residence. And every month I bring us poets from pretty much all over. We've had actually all over the world. Tonight we have myself and two other California people and someone from Watkins Glen, New York. So get ready to enjoy our show. First of all, I'd like to thank Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture for having this show every month and providing an opportunity through the wonderful world of online programming for us all to get together, not only during the pandemic, but also reaching out and meeting people and hearing their poetry from all over the country or other parts of the world. So thank you. I'm going to start out with a few poems. I also have an announcement for myself. I have a book coming out before May from Foothills Press, and it's called Over the Falls, and it's a book of my poetry. And as time goes on, I'll let people know how they can get a copy and when that comes out. But something I'm very excited about, and I wanted to share with everyone. So this poem is called There for the Last Half, and it's for all of us moon watchers. I step outside to my deck in time to see half of the red moon, hidden in part by veil of clouds, other half struggling bright, then submitting to coming daylight. I feel akin to this lunar comrade, half hidden behind clouds of potential, my brightness dimmed by the light of day, half eclipsed by the shapes of other celestial bodies who orbit in wider circles. The tides have turned too soon. Daylight can sweep dreams away from the boldness upon night's less distracted carnival. The morning brings choices to make, hidden in the memory of last night's half moon. And I'm a gardener. You know, I love to garden, as most people know. And also I'm from upstate New York myself, as most people know who know me. And this is kind of a look back on the way things were at one time, and it's called Promises of Brown. I wait on a cement bench overlooking green gardens, already showing the promise of brown. If I could, I'd go under the sprinkler head, stripped down like the child who never could be, innocence running wet. I'd twirl freely in the grass, look upward without concern, heart beating to double Dutch sidewalk rhymes decades back when I was always watching, waiting on cement curbs for my fun. Now I wait for a no-show person 50 miles from my mountain cabin, 2,700 miles from my birth city streets. I wait here on a cement bench for the skipper to mess up, for the rope to skip a beat. The minute hand moves on as I overlook green gardens already showing the promise of brown. And here in the Sacramento Valley, it is beautifully green and blooming right now, but it doesn't take long before it turns more brown as the summer heats up. And this poem is called Talavera. And if you're not familiar with Talavera, it's a Mexican pottery. And it's known for very bright colors. It's hand painted. It's made of natural clay. And a lot of times there are planters, there are dishes, and there are shapes of frogs and animals and different things. And I just love Talavera, and I have quite a lot of it. Talavera. Blue, deep, rich blue, yellow, green, orange, colors of earth, water, sky, a joyous rush, extroverted hues, traditional motifs, jubilant shock of the whole rainbow. Earthborn clay, molded by hands with love of the land, a dusty land, valleys and mountains, big cities and rural resorts, mariachi music and street vendors, scents of spices, limes, cilantro, swords of agave spilling tequila. But that deep blue, the shiny coat of color on clay, entices sunlight into the room, onto the patio, into the most overcast of California winter days. A cast of molded characters, turtle, ladybug, lizards, suns and moons in celestial intercourse. Planters whose beauty completes with a passion of petunias, waving and pouring from within. Cactus stand at attention, sentinels around swimming pool, each a Talavera potted guard. Every piece of fiesta, of hand-painted celebration, of Mexico and my heart. And when I was a kid in the city, we took the bus, never thought twice about it, took the city bus, transferred. You're in 6th or 7th grade, and there was no school bus. You took the city bus and transferred. So this is called time on the bus. Going home from school, 7th grade, 2 buses with transfer downtown, stopping to smell the roasted peanuts at the planter's shop, eating French fries at Woolworth's counter, facing up to another girl's knife once, pushing on, facing up, it's what I know. Visiting grandma in her cancer bed, 9th grade, ice cream sodas, styrofoam cups, 1 bus, no transfer, no companions. Watching her fade, truly weak, the hard worker, always caring for others, never complaining, pressing forward. It's what she taught me. Working with adults with disabilities, mobility training, making choices, making change, showing disenfranchised people they need not be victims. There is power in action, strength in breaking the stereotypes, courage in taking a place in the world. Taking the bus, seeing the slower view, meeting people, sharing differences. Stand up for yourself, keep moving, or sit down, like Rosa Parks, real courage. But push on, step up, make change, do something, or keep out of the way of those of the brave that do. And this is a sort of a fantasy, starts out with a real experience and kind of goes into surrealism. And it's called seasonal surrealism. Wind wove through our town, joining the deluge of rain in a magical move to rival Mary Poppins. An outdoor umbrella rose like a slow missile up from the ground zero of table and towards the pool, gliding on unseen wings. In the fracas of weather, I ran to retrieve that stiff round parachute before it flew farther over the fence and trees to twirl like Gene Kelly dancing in the rain, in the stew of remnants stirring in backyard chaos. As I grasped the metal pole, I was lifted aloft, rising over rooftops, wet, cold, and afraid of hard landings and death. I slowed to a float, calmness all around me. I hovered over home, then blew with excitement over neighbors, shops, buildings, with all the finery of our downtown arches, over the rivers without too many woods, past homeless camps, stray dogs, feral cats, children being bullied at school, lineup of people at food banks, buses on the way to the mall, lonely arms reaching into empty mailboxes like treasure hunters doomed to holiday disappointment. What is this path I follow? Passing silent church bells still despite the storm and scenery of so many in need. I proceed in circles, each lap uncovering more sorrow of those indeed everywhere, standing in long cold lines or alone in quiet despair. The umbrella sped me home, amazed and relieved, safe and sound, all limbs attached, 2 feet on solid loved ground. For every super shopper and pious churchgoer, there is much help needed in our own community. It's more than lighting candles or checking off wish list, and what it takes is a ride in an unbridled adventure. Get close in and see, but open your eyes, your hearts, and your pocketbooks to things right in front of you you won't be able to unsee. And I'm going to close my portion with a poem that was very fun to write. It's one of my pet peeves are really frilly, girly girls. And this is about that. It's fun. It's a fun poem. Girly girls. You know the type. If I wasn't a woman myself, I'd never say this. But girly girls, the ones too delicate to survive, without the strong hand of some guy, usually not a genius himself, but their lives ruined by broken fingernails, can't ride with the windows open, their hair. Those with unnatural voices like, "Hi, I want to be taken seriously as a woman." When their skirts are up to there, their blouses are down to wear, their outfits dry clean only, their shoes are heeled with dagger spikes. I'm told they're called fuck me heels. Well, fuck me. How can you walk on those things? Although they're great to aerate garden soil. Although the theatrical makeup makes them look like vampires. Though they're too helpless to lift the coffin lid and they bat their eyes in the name of equality. Then they pout, seeking help, and their eyeglasses, making them look intelligent. So why not have 20 pairs in pink and glitter and flamingos? And speaking of pink, why not outfits that look like toddler wear, baby dolls and Betty Boop, hands on hips and stomp your feet, a broken heel? Who could have seen that coming? Cry me a river. Yes, you already are an I Love Lucy ball. Theater, anyone? It drives me to drink. Not beer. Girly girls say it's a man's drink. Give me a tall Jenny cream, please, and a cork for the lipstick mouth of the lady. All in fun, but thank you. And next we're going to hear from Wren Tuatha, who's coming to us tonight from Watkins Glen, New York.
Wren, you are muted.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Yes, I was just saying I just moved to Watkins Glen from California, and I'm so excited to be on this cast and be visiting my California friends again. So I decided to go ahead and share some of my campfire poems that are part of a new book that I'm working on. So a little bit of a trigger warning for that. This first one is a bit of a rambling surrealist piece called History of the Moon. A witness filmed the recent eclipse, noted a flash of light, an asteroid hitting the pocked moon, saw it, filmed it, did nothing. I want to wake up on an alien surface. No wildfire ash, just gas of purple and peach glow. No land, no place to build things that will burn. I want to rewind. The tidal wave of fire never ate my town. Herd of velociraptors, vast space bacteria. My thoughts haunt the scale of it. I daydream giant aliens observing the pivots of cells in their microscope. This one seems to look after the other kind, not knowing these are people with their pets, teachers and students pooling in meta-crisis, bus drivers and escaped cattle. Susan holds the screen in her hands, sifting ash and sand, teeth and ceramics. She looks for the diamond setting of a ring. She finds china fragments and takes them back to her rental like relics of the saints. The thing and the memory, conjoined twins knifed apart by the surgeon no one hired. Shrinking from a paradise poison breeze, I sink lower in my hot tub, stare at the moon that saw it all and did nothing. In my box of hot, I become a primitive amphibian, staring up at an adolescent moon, remembering the time I was hunted here in my pool. The claws, saliva, grunts and snorts. The moon was full, accomplice, saw all and did nothing. Street after slope, parcels bombed out, trees bared to show herds of chimneys that couldn't fight fire with fire. Some have Christmas stockings hung after, hazmat codes in tic-tac-toe orange spray. Hot tub in moonlight, warm, bright, quiet. I have regrets. I want to go back in time, warn others. Move away before November 8th. Let nothing happen. Back in time, Massachusetts. Marge, look out, don't injure your ankle. Just before my puppy broke her hip. Cricket, let me lift you out of the car. I'm haunted by regrets and exploding propane tanks. 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth had a bad day, crisis of faith, billiard game with an alien landscape. Body parts of Earth flung out and formed the moon. To this day, Earth looks out, says, there's my arm, there's my gallbladder, fused into a tag-along sister with no gossip, no plan of return, no offer to pitch in for the rent. Hot tub, tree line, moonlight. Same horizon where the fire charged, a football field per minute, rounded sawmill peak, bursting ponderosas like matchsticks in my binoculars. All that's left of my barn is the peephole from the tack room door. It could be a telescope for a Barbie doll, or a relic mounted on red velvet in a shadow box frame. My relic. New terms of engagement. Tree skeletons in the moonlight. Snow that never fell here before. I could watch a bear moving where the understory is gone, but no browse, so no bear. No bird song, no dance hall. The hospital where I once surrendered my gallbladder will not reopen. This one's inspired by a Facebook post by my dear friend and campfire survivor, Mandy. Mandy finds her place, surveys a plot on her land, her place in the burn where she can hammock her soul again. Her place she now marks with a green wicker chair. Mandy can name grasses, ponding her place beneath cauterized scrub oak. Her place had goats and working dogs, most lost that day, with tribes of trees in her house on Yankee Hill. Her place and all of us in the forge. I want to tell you her story, how Mandy is made of iron. Last year, on a stony dirt road at her place, half in and half out of her truck when the brakes gave up, Mandy went with it. Slow motion into the gulch. Dogs thrown around the cab. Dogs ran. She crawled to find help, broken like a shoveled snake. At home, she grew new bones. Her place, a slope for goats. Never heard her scream, Mandy in the forge. From her place, she still looks for Isis, her favorite Akbash dog, missing since the fire. Her place, germinating wicker. Her place, a flagpole for ghosts. This piece is called Proxima Centauri, or Anniversary of the Fire. It's the last fire poem I'll read. Tell me what you know about dismemberment. Banu Kapil. Its literalness. The resistance of the dead bay branch through loppers into my wrist and elbow. Mutual rigidity. What the tree and I saw of consuming flame that morning. The bone and crack and hunt of it. Its joining, my fulcrum on the tool, arthritis in fingers and shoots, our fibers under skins, container identity. Acceptance, the tree and me of it, absorbing the sun on a cold November day that shouldn't be this warm. The way the virus of weather is personal and really not. Hiker and boot to ants carrying food. The virus of weather leaves us defined as survivors, watchful while processing our dead branches. The stupid green of it, leafing a young bay salad at the trunk, the DNA of persistence without a basis, the red berry cluelessness, one single offering held forward on a new growth green hand. A deer or a bear might carry its seeds to the next canyon, so I'll tell you what I know about fire. It meets you where you burn. It says, do over, do differently. Remember that you're an animal. It knows you. Spark on a fingertip across a cat's back, or Proxima Centauri, keeping its gravitational distance. My dismemberment from a green, safe home is so much code in the stir of earth and her Me Too rages. There's a theory. We plants and animals are just vehicles, time machine to carry our DNA forward. So Stupid me for composing little poems instead of stepping down from world dominance in disgrace. Mhm. So besides visiting the fires, I also go home to my native Kentucky in my new work. And this piece is called Untethered. Blame it or praise it, there's no denying the wild horse in us, Virginia Woolf. To be caught in the woods, his sense of place. He had the smoothest canter of the ponies, like the moment a plane untethers from pavement. The Palomino Dodge could see girl me, lead in hand, would lead me to the trees. I was quick and right with the halter. He let himself be led to the mounting block, Pap watching. Dodge knew what I wanted, to gallop up and down the avenue, a field, not a road, until my thighs were sore from holding on. I dovetailed every twitch of skin and shift of hoof, every witnessing tree. It's a peregrine ribbon, planet Zephyr, muscle and saddle becoming chimera, violin string veins painting the jet stream. Dodge, day moon squall, would veer at full tilt for the trees that lined the avenue and wipe me off, a hard hit to the ground. Always get back on. I knew the light and dark of this. Colonial, cowboy, suffragette hand-me-down. As if grown girl me would be barred from rodeos and legislatures. So much depends. The race to be untethered. What did girl me want to be? Senator of thickets and notebooks, stag of the ribbon way. I woke to galloping under my window, jumped to see where Dodge was heading, called out to Pap, Dodge is free. But no pony was on the path, just bluegrass and birdsong. They found the Palomino, legs up in the woods, his rest, his place, his choosing. The last poem I'll do is called A Pale Constellation, a very rambling surrealist thing also. My poem should breathe where I cannot. Andalusian olive groves in my camera were green. I was 15, and my species still had a shot to win my admiration. I carried a marble in my pocket. Summers, I still visit Lenny, whose dad left her in Appalachian Slope, Mine Pony Farm, she calls it, after sturdy servants who carried off profits, leaving lungfuls of dust. She dreams of building a theater camp. For now, she rolls downhill with water, dogs, and copperheads as crews dig the mountain out from under her, keeping ahead of Mine Pony snipers who shoot to scare her off. You and I, she says, we carry a sense of place. There's a field in Kentucky framed by woods and the talking of an unseen road. It's a box open to the sky where I left a marble, dropped when I heard a rifle shot. Don't look like a deer, yet I ran. Jack's Creek is stalked by the road. Most hours, they wait together for what will happen. Water moccasins aren't found in these parts anymore. Still, venom finds fang, and fang finds blood. Eculius the foal, a pale constellation I look for but only find in books. She has a backstory, but I want to know if she's afraid up there. Traveling ahead of Pegasus. My marble was green, if you're looking. A daguerreotype of my grand ancestor, Joseph McClaskey, hangs in the farmhouse hall. He glares as if someone's done wrong. Don't look like a deer. I want to travel back, punch the stars out of his slave-owning ass. My poem doesn't owe him a forgetful eulogy. I owe the dead and the living wronged a pivot of place, a passing the mic, lighting up a coolius, a green marble, not in that order, but over and over. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Sue Daly, and I want to thank Diane for inviting me to read here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've written poetry since I was a teenager through college, a little bit in midlife, and now I'm retired, so I have a lot more time to devote to it. I have a couple of books out. I have a chapbook called A Voice at Last. Let's see if I can get it in the picture. There we go. And that came out in 2017. And Language of the Tea Leaves is my recent book, out May of 2021, published by Cold River Press. So I'll be reading you a few poems from these. Okay. The first one's called Morning Reverie. 3 smooth stones graced my palm as I walked beside the pond today. Glancing to my left, a flock of dignified geese caught me by surprise. Masquerading as synchronized swimmers, they skimmed the mottled surface, wings flapping in egg-beater fashion. All pierced the blue in a straight arrow line, taking to the sky at just the right time, their unified movements glimmering through air. As they waved goodbye, I fingered the stones clicking in my pocket, held my breath and mouthed a prayer, skipped each one across water. I will never know. Don't fear my love would be wasted if not returned to me in kind. Should you not require it for yourself, let it move through you, fluid and colorless. One who treasures such things will open their heart to let it seep in, and I will never know you rejected it. This I say to your soul, gatekeeper of my love, harbinger of my hope. And a few from Language of the Tea Leaves. I'll start with the title poem, Language of the Tea Leaves. She sips tea slowly, captures sunshine in her hair, brushes it from her face, sees her tears in the tea leaves drifting down to the bottom of the cup, arranging themselves into intricate, delicate patterns, as if trying to convey a message of supreme importance about her future, perhaps an end to the strange misadventure threatening to overwhelm her now, sinking deeper, oblivious to captured sunshine in the mysterious language of tea leaves. The forgetting. I hear you call at daybreak. Rising, I splash my face with winter's chill, rub my freezing hands together, and head out to the old field. At dawn, the 7 sisters finish their night watch. The moon dims, a pale orb receding into the heavens. I hear your voice again, begging me to forgive and forget, though I don't remember what you're talking about. What could be so important? What you said or what you did? After all these years, all the tears have dried. Excuse me. Flood. The river surged, carried us away in a flash. The sea forgave, buried our wounds beneath the blue, our petty posturing of no consequence as hair silvers. Okay. This one I wrote for a very good friend after they lost someone very special to them. Unspoken. Left unspoken. Rhyme without reason. Love for a season. Left unspoken. Words made of dust. Time-tested trust. Left unspoken. Wounds of a friend. Grief without end. Even the clouds. There is nothing to see here. Nothing more can be done. She is weary of sorrow. Even the clouds offer to hold her tears. The sky shudders, rolls up, and goes home. She does not notice. She sleeps, but does not dream. What is useful? What is useful is noticing the green sky. The honorable sky asks, why am I green? You think, what have I done without the sky's permission? Sky whispers, alchemize the terrible with the beautiful. It is suggested you follow the advice of your brother, the nurse practitioner. After you left the hospital, he asked, do you have a rescue inhaler and do you know how to use it? It's always a good idea to keep breathing. So you think he may be right. Your thoughts slide away like an ice skater, gracefully finishing her last triple toe loop. She waits for the scoreboard to flash her fate. Will it be bronze, silver, or gold? No medal is awarded for breathing. Our skater knows how to give it all to the muddled puddle of existence. She is a practitioner of joy, and beautiful is her joy, and beautiful is her pain. She follows the loop of her heart, thinks about the sky's wisdom. Her thoughts crystallize into, the beautiful is so terrible, and the terrible is so beautiful. The stars. The stars are yours now. You have tamed them. I need some more light. Sorry, let me start this one again. The stars are yours now. You have tamed them, tied them down around time warps and cosmic thunders. They bend their will to yours. Why not corner the sky? It lies open before you. How hopefully you have traveled. How useless to fight the night and all its dreaming. A shadow clouds your face. Fear is a mockingbird afraid to mock. It follows your footsteps down cobblestone roads in a foreign land. The pounding rain slicks the street. Having never visited there, you know it well. This is not odd, only a matter of fact. And that happenstance in your head, throbbing rhythmically with the rain, it's only fear of the mockingbird. Will he tell what he knows? A shadow clouds your face. You are the road, the rain, the bird. On the way to the mailbox, I watched the clouds paint the day gray, competing with a few rays of sun. Sidewalk roses beg for affection, deep reds, pale pinks, and peaches. I breathe in the heady cologne, breaking off a hesitant pink. I press the fleshy petals to my face. Crushed velvet explodes on my cheek. A moment resplendent. Ever after. Dusk unraveled day as night approached steadily, relentlessly. Cast shadows of fear, blurred by uncertainty. She did not flee this witching hour, bloomed within its clutches, entered with no assurance of return. stumbled over 7 faces of darkness, danced through ruins, dreamt of light laced with laughter, ever after all. I usually write pretty short poems, so that's why you may hear a few more. The Carnival. That scalding summer day melted into a starless night, a day dripped with sweat, much like the day before and the day before that. We drank too many sodas, ate too many corn dogs, laughed until our cheeks hurt. The view from the Ferris wheel dizzied us with delight. Colored lights swirled around us as we flew above our homes, above our parents' sad stories, below the radar of our dreams. Summer blurred into fall. We tore ourselves away from each other. I remember the way you carried that green stuffed dragon, carried my heart full of tears on the slow walk home. COVID summer. Another night of numbness fades into a dismal dawn. Masked ghosts walk on burning summer sidewalks. Lavender roses languish in the fevered afternoon sun. Wildflowers. Scent of honeysuckle in the air, tiny petals everywhere. And my love, you were there. Lavender lilacs, pale and fair, wildflowers adorned your hair. And my love, you were there. Snow piles on branches bare, stormy skies do not care. And you, my love, no longer there. This one's a good one. This one's a fun one. I enjoy it. Downpour. Morning started to cry for no apparent reason. She cried straight into afternoon without stopping once. Afternoon couldn't name the grief, but still wept in sympathy, her tears springing up from the ground. Afternoon leaned into evening, who painted the sky midnight black. She let out a wail so loud it shook the stars right out of heaven. It rained tears and stars all night. The dimmest of dawns came calling, only to find weary morning hiding in the clouds, unable to face another day. Bitter herbs. Sorrow steeps the tea. Mercy sips it. Regret looks away, unable to taste what sorrow has brewed. Saturn's rings. We stood in line on the snowy path, waiting to look through the Clark telescope. Laughing, you asked us to save your place as your friends whisked you away. You always were in perpetual motion. Mom and Dad huddled together to keep warm, gazed up at the Milky Way, discussed the time-space continuum, wondered about destiny and why the hell we'd moved to Arizona. Breathless from running around with heaven knows who at heaven knows where, you returned to elbow in between us, just in time to catch a glimpse of Saturn's rings. I've never seen anything quite like it. That moment in time, your face flushed, eyes bright with a 16-year-old's fire, your hair haloed in swirling snowflakes, infinitely lovelier than Saturn's rings. Thank you so much. If you are interested in Language of the Tea Leaves or A Voice at Last, my card is put up on the screen. Email me at plugintopoetry@gmail.com. Cold River Press is the publisher of this book, but they have actually run out of copies. So your best bet is to just email me and I'll give you the information. Thank you very much for listening.
Hi, I'm Mo Fowler, and I wanted to start off by saying how grateful I am to Diane for including me tonight in this reading series. It's been wonderful so far. I feel so at peace from listening to all of these. And I'll kind of dive into some of my own now. I also had a chapbook come out this fall called Sit Wild with Finishing Line Press. And I'm going to start with a piece out of that. It's called Mothering My Rotting Self. I did everything anyone ever asked so that I might walk to the kitchen in dirty underwear on my day off with hair nested, eyes a violet sag to bake a morning pie. That's all I wanted, to live in a quiet place. No television playing riddles up the back of my neck at 6 a.m. skittering the thin skin of my inner arms. No one asking what are you doing or why. To live in this apartment that holds no assumptions, a barely draining shower where I can dye my hair, work dead-end jobs in silence. To live with peanut butter in my cupboard, honey on my oatmeal, and rent I can mostly afford. I hold my breath, a mouthful of pearls. Sometimes I gasp them onto the unswept kitchen floor, luminous white shine in the fluorescence of my fridge. I'm learning so many different ways to stare the luck of my life in the face, like baking a rich chocolate pie with the sunrise. I'm learning that flour sifted across my palms is the same constellation of dust as white chalk stuck to the dry calluses at 7 on the bars, and I always trusted my hands to catch me. That I might trust my hands again, that I might trust the thin skin of my inner arms. I eat a single slice of the pie and it is perfect. Each minute direction of the recipe realized. It is creamy opulence with flaky crust and tastes like decay on my tongue. I leave the rest to mold over all month. Great. Just kind of an old one to kick things off. And then I'm going to move now into some pieces I've been working on in the past 6 months or so. This one is called If I Could Be Anyone. I'd be myself again on that January Monday morning in Des Moines with the styrofoam coffee from the back of the gas station cafe, hash browns, dense snow, and regular work. The soft crack of the cup between my thighs, in my car leaving a hotel room right off the highway, threadbare duffel bag in the back seat full of beer cans I've been drinking in bleached bathtubs, with my laptop propped on the toilet seat so I can watch TV shows where children make all the same mistakes as me, and thick knit sweaters I found in the $1 bin at a Minnesota Salvation Army, age-soft books saved from my shelf and dog-eared at the Leave This Place page, the clatter of the back seat at the dip out of the parking lot, the shifting weight of suitcases in the trunk, creaking settle of the old Volkswagen body, its smell of vinegar chips, vegan jerky, looking at my hands not tattooed yet, my last manicure glossed still, pristine, tapping my grandfather's ring against the steering wheel at the final red light of the town, taking a hot sip as I downshift and then pushing 85, ripping out the roots of my solitude, on toward the yellow grasses, a gradient of blue mountains rise up, stack, beautiful. Great. And this one is called I Grow Toward. The cars that speed past on Lake Street shake your room, our bed, vibrator dropped to the floor. The shudder of traffic is a tide, white noise enough to bring me to sleep. With time or you, I have become young. I was not kept awake by large, slick claws that tick slowly out of bedroom closets. I was as scared of my parents as of any monster, all of the easy, foolish ways they could die. I couldn't be soothed by bathroom lights. There is no proof but weeks, months, years of surviving every single night of frenetic, certain fear. That acrid yellow water will lift up around the house, necks roughly opened, footsteps in the hall, cheekbones split against the floorboards. Every faucet left running, the sliding glass door broken off to guillotine the bed, blood thick on the light switch, gloved hand pulling my sheets, shadow on the wall surrendering to a body. Street screams, awake to a red, wet bed, awake to empty house, awake to beetle pinchers slicing up out of stomach lining, awake to cascade of hard-winged backs pressing out of intestines. Stay awake to catch the intruder, stay awake to watch the door, stay awake to notice the first bug that rises under the skin. Stay awake, standing still in pajamas halfway down a dark hallway, breathing the only prayer that panic allows. Learned in the fear that is underneath the fear, that it doesn't take anything to shake a home. Great. Okay, wonderful. I'll do one or more of these more recent pieces. This is called An Untitled Exercise to Find a Poem in All the Carcasses of Him and I. His lean across my clenched knuckles on the steering wheel to press a sure thumb to the albino spider is a preservation. Its thin legs pinned to my unwashed windshield for weeks, fracture sunlight like a broken prism, catch high beams, tell me I forgot to be a man for a moment and now there is a body. My speed through the strip mall labyrinth until this town is entirely recognizable. Every neon sign set to loom over the midnight road, irradiant against his grin. His time with me a study in the ways a body stays. The opossum on the road and how every night we drive past the smeared patch of gore lifts another shade. My forward press into the night, his eyes stuck behind us. I never find myself loving anything more than just a person. It's always me, a body in the passenger seat, the deadly dark roads. His arm held over my damp head, the other crushes a drain fly on the shower wall, washes his fingers in the water, the guts of a life rinse down onto my body, the stain of a summer kill on the tile for months. Wonderful. Okay, and I actually think I'm going to duck back in to Sit Wild real quick. This is a piece I wrote when I was working at Home Depot and not being taken very seriously. It's called Can I Help You Find Anything Today? They ask about the new 8 billion liter tankless water heaters that we have down aisle 6. They ask if I have a boyfriend. They ask where the 24-bit Drexel drills with extensions are. They ask why I work here. They ask, where can I find this screw? Sometimes they wink when they say screw. They ask, can you find someone to help me? They ask why the new Goodyear 50-foot Maxlite rubber hose is infused with vanilla scent. They ask, don't you people know that my wife loves it when I lay my tinged black, rubber stink rough hands on her cheeks and I smell like hard work? Don't you know my wife needs me to work hard, to smell like rubber, to come to stores like this and not need to ask you for anything? They ask me to pick out a color in the Sherwin-Williams semi-gloss that matches the hand-me-down couch from their brother, who they don't talk too much anymore, but this color could fix things, maybe, right? They ask, don't I think they could have a family again? They ask, will the 6-foot fiddle-leaf fig or the shade-friendly peace lily look better in the corner of the living room where my wife used to read? They ask why I'm not smiling. They ask me to smile more. They ask if I'm sick, if I'm tired, if I'm okay, carrying that. They ask me to sit down with them a second. See, I just had surgery, and it was the scariest day of my life. And now every day is scary too, so I need to sit a minute. They ask why I'm not in school. They ask why I even bothered going to school. They always ask the guy standing next to me first. I ask, can I help you find anything today? They say no. They laugh. They say, a hose that smells enough like rubber that women will look me in the eye again. Great. Okay, it looks like I have 5 more minutes, so we're going to do 2 more. This one's called The Dishes Have to Soak Forever, from a similar time period as the last one. I will be late for my shift because I am staring at the dishes. An alabaster ceramic bowl, smeared violent carmine from the berries in my morning oatmeal, nesting inside a frying pan crusted from frozen pot stickers that popped a spastic spray, oil, small burnt circles on my chest. Now in the water, the pan hits a Sunshine Diner mug from an estate sale. It has rings from black coffee gone dry inside of it like a tree or tea leaves telling the future, and past that a tub peanut butter, used up, soaks in the sludge so I can plant catnip in the plastic jar later. I will wash them when I get home or after dinner, or when the email comes saying I got the job, or that might be never, so I will wash them when I finish the laundry, or when I work less than 6 days a week, or when someone else promises to walk through my door. Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to end on another newer piece that I've been working on. It's called I Believe. In cold kitchen linoleum, laying on my back in damp grass late at night, next to someone I'm considering falling in love with, playing a new CD in my car until I know every word, turning the volume down when other people get in, letting trucks merge in front of me, especially on rainy days. I believe in always stopping for estate sales, bringing back the idea of phone trees, making blankets for new babies, propagating the basil plant on the front porch, even when it is plainly drowning in the pot. I believe in a new pot. It will be the same basil plant, but also a new basil plant. In donuts tasting better the less you have to spend, or the earlier in the morning you eat them. In finding the attics of churches and watching how the air up there tenses when everyone starts singing. I believe voices rise like heat. I believe in kissing under the sprinklers of a baseball field, in human pyramids, glass jars thick enough to hit the floor without breaking, mauve lipstick stains on the back of a hand, dressers where the drawers stick, bottles of leftover vodka loosely capped in the back of the closet, ivy that curls in on itself against the brick of an old Rogers Park apartment building. I believe I could change and still say the same, that the strongest structures withstand fire but are broken by the thin green tendrils of new life. In keeping recipes written by hand in a small tin in a kitchen cabinet, opening the blinds first thing in the morning. My back is a brick wall. My basil plant is dying. My car will not survive another snow. None of them will speak to me once they start having children. I believe her when she says she didn't mean to. I believe in the flaking crust and soaking give of a pot pie crust. Her bedroom door was already painted when we met. It wasn't technically a concussion. She doesn't know where I live now. I believe no one was in the chapel that day. I believe in wet-tongued confession. Band-aids with illustrations on them work better. I could have been incredible if they'd let me on the Little League baseball team. I believe in the gossip of trees. I believe ivy weakens the structure but strengthens the building. I believe she is standing at the end of the block with 3 strands of my hair still tangled in the damp sweat of her hand, and if I dare to make a home, she will use them to set the wiring alight, and I will burn in there alive. Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. This was wonderful.
And this concludes another Poetry Square for the month of March. Next month, for April, which is also National Poetry Month, we will be hearing from Susan Kelly DeWitt, from Susan Block, and from Gwen Henry. And looking forward to that. And in the meantime, keep listening, keep writing poetry if you're writing, keep reading poetry, and keep leading a life in poetry. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching. And thank you again to Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture. Good night.